All right. Well, I'm so excited to have Dallas Langston here with me and Alan, and we're going to pick your brain a little bit and just ask you some things because you are now the force to be reckoned with. I mean, you started at 176 and you just went up through the ranks and you're slaying everybody in the arm wrestling world. You're just kicking ass and taking names. And I have some information that I'm going to ask you a few questions to see if you can answer them. And one of the things I asked you was, hey, could you get on a call and do an interview with me? And you said, I have to focus. I have a tournament coming up. And that was just really interesting to me, first off, because you set some boundaries for yourself. Do you have a way of focusing before a tournament where your family just has to be put on hold, or like, what are you like? I know with Alan, there's no talking to him before a tournament, a week before and a week after. I mean, he has to come down from this crate. I'm nowhere to be found, on that time. Is that the same with you? How do you prepare for tournaments?
For me, mainly, I was just more worried that I would sound like an idiot because I'm cutting water and eating like no food right now because I'm cutting weight for the tournament. But yeah, when it's really, really close, I'm in game time. I'm not trying to, like, I get invited to Zoom calls or different things, and I'm like, I honestly don't even care most of the time. You guys go talk and do your thing, and I'll just show up and try to win. So yeah, I'm super focused, and I usually just kind of shut everything out the days to the event. And then after, depending on if I win, then I'm ready to talk and I'm happy. If I lose, then I'm questioning everything in my head for the next, 3 or 4 days, second guessing myself. What did I do wrong? Am I really as good as I think I am? And you go through all that side.
So who is your next challenge? What's going on?
So, well, it's Arizona State. I haven't told anyone really for the most part that I'm going. I saw that Artem Taranyenko, who is currently ranked #1 left-handed at 198, is going to be there. I don't think, I don't know. In my head, I think I'm going to win, but you never know. There's Artem, there's Coach Ray from Latvia. The other Latvians are coming. Sandris, he'll be in the heavier class, and then the other dude, 176, will be in the lighter class. But there's plenty of competition that's planning on showing up to this. So it's an important one. If you win left-handed, you're ranked #1 in North America. Right-handed, I believe I'm already ranked above all these dudes, depending on the ranking source. So I'm not as excited about the right, but I've always wanted to be #1, either both hands really, but here's the chance. So I'm excited.
Oh, that's amazing. Now, can you give us any secret? I mean, Alan's always, talking about this secret and that secret, and he tells what he does. And there's just a couple things about that. What did you say?
Okay.
We've been married way too long.
She's taking my thunder.
Okay, no.
So I want to start something new for these interviews. I've been giving away my secrets since I started because I always like the challenge from my competitors to show them how to beat me.
Right.
To you, my friend, I'm coming up with the first time. Break your code secrets to your challengers. What would you say to your challengers of how they can beat you, or what should they do to beat you? Are you
it's not, I'm the same way. I like to give it away. So that way I know I have to train to get better in that arena. If I am in the strap and the strap is super tight, I'm going to win. So the arena, the area that someone would have to break that is being able to successfully set up in the strap extremely loose, and then your hand has more play. If you have more play, it comes down to who has a better hand. And I am not the guy with the better hand 8 out of 10 times. So then it also is, I've figured out, because I've already known this, and a lot of people, some of my competitors have known what works against me. So I've already trained how to beat the loose strap game. That's more on the right arm. Left arm, strangely enough, I have like this weird lock/kings move. I think very few people know how to beat a king's move. They get frustrated with it because they don't know what to do. It's actually not that difficult to beat, and I've showed people this, and I don't care if people know it. Instead, the king's move is reliant upon going backwards and having a tight strap and being locked in. what happens is you bait your opponent into fighting you with back pressure. I have really good back pressure, so they usually lose that game. What you have to do to beat the King's move, and you saw this with a very high end match, Devin versus Michael Todd, the last time they met at King of the Table. You stand super tall if you want to beat it. You don't fight backwards. You come into it. They run out of pad, and then they're screwed. So that's how you beat the King's move. Or you can leave a little bit of wiggle room in the strap, work the hand, work the elbow pad, bring it forward, regrip, bring it forward, regrip. Just take enough hand and then you can win. But it's never fight it in their arena. Never fight it backwards. Always fight it forward.
Man, thank you for revealing that. You're the first one that's going to reveal a secret in these interviews. So
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Now,
Oh yeah, I could care less.
Alan,
And I have an ego. So I think if you're gonna beat me, you got to figure out how to beat me. And my ego tells me, even if you know the answer, I'm still going to win. So that's probably a character defect, but it's what
I love it. Now, you've got Eric Wolf, Matt Craig. These are guys you've arm wrestled before. What do you feel was your greatest challenge, and what did you do to overcome that challenge?
honestly, Arm Wars. When I went to Arm Wars in England and tried to learn, I learned some stuff over there. It took me, what I try to do is I always try to learn from a match, whether it's a tournament, a super match. If I learn something, I can leave being okay. If I don't learn anything, I'm usually, then more arrogance comes, and then you're, cocky and confident. And I don't like being in that headspace. I want to be fearful when I'm arm wrestling. And so I think one of the things that I learned the most was arm wrestling overseas was they have very loose setups in the strap. At least they knew that going. I think the opponents knew that about me, that was kind of my kryptonite, but they have no load and very quick down pressure right on the bicep.
Yeah.
And you've seen Todd Hutchins, for example, has a very difficult time with that type of setup. I have a terrible time with that setup. The quick, fast twitch down right on the bicep stuff is really dangerous for me. And luckily I've learned, Chance Shaw actually showed me how to combat that. So that was probably one of the things that made me more versatile, because there's very few people where I go against where I'm like, oh, I'm screwed if it's that dude because he has this. It was that super quick down, flash pin pressure. And if I couldn't bait him into loading, I was screwed. But now I have an alternate, which is more loading out, which nobody talks about. It's not loading back because the referee is going to call you for loading. If you're going towards your pad sideways, the ref actually thinks that dude's pushing your hand and they're getting mad at him. But it creates the motion of you being able to catch
right
before they dive into your bicep. So that was probably a really good thing that I learned from arm wrestling there.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's a defensive for sure. Have you guys ever arm wrestled?
Not in a tournament.
So we just like to arm wrestle each other and
Like
when we show up. Yeah,
after the tournament, you guys mess around then?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's a beast. You put him in that strap, you're not gonna touch him.
I have no desire to arm wrestle Alan in a tournament. If I ever have to do it, I'm not taking it lightly. I don't care how much he weighs versus how much I weigh. I've seen Alan win more overalls. Him and Luke Kent have probably won more overalls in California than anyone else.
Wow. Well, and there's some other names here I want to throw out and have you just share any thoughts you have. There's John the Savage Theron. There's Mika, right? And I'm not going to butcher his name. His last name. And then
we love you, Mika.
And then yeah, we do. And Jordan Davis, and of course Corey Miller doing all his rankings online. So any of those names strike energy? You want to go toe to toe with them, head to head, arm to arm?
Well, I could say on the heel of that, does any of those people put fear in you?
Those ones, I hate going against lighter guys because you have nothing to win. So Corey Miller is a lighter guy, but I've only pulled him 2 times, and I actually pulled him at 176, and I beat him once and he beat me once.
Nice.
I'm not worried about Corey personally, just because I know his kryptonite is the strap, and he's all speed. And if you load back with him, he doesn't. You saw what happened with him and Daniel Propopkanik or whatever that dude's name is. he gets lost real quick. If you're, I don't know, this probably sounds weird. Sorry, Corey. But yeah, I'm not worried about some of those types of dudes. Recent had a loss against John Theron. I would love to run that one back. I have plenty of good excuses in my brain as to why I lost right-handed, and I would love to redeem myself on that one. Eduardo Tiete, you didn't mention him, but he's one that I think is just absolutely brutal at this 200-pound weight class. He beat me in January in a best of 5. I won the first 2. I needed 1 more and I couldn't do it. But it also depends on if we're talking left or right. Left arm, I feel confident right now in North America, and we'll find out here in 2 days, but I am feeling like there's a good chance I'm going to be ranked number 1 here really soon.
Well, you know,
Very
all
cool.
the best to you in that. Congratulations in that. We're really honored to have you on this little time with us. Is there anyone that you know that's an up and coming that hasn't really had the spotlight that you know of that can just come off the top of your head? Someone you've been training, someone that you just like to just share and give that honor to
Yeah,
as an up and coming upstart?
there's 2 of them. One is Ole Moise. That dude is absolute. That's one that I am fearful of. He's extremely fast. His left is insane. His right is solid. He's known, but he's not known enough for where he really is. He'll be one of those dudes. He already is in California, but when he gets out and travels more, he's on a trajectory of just like this because he's young, he's in insane shape, he's disciplined, he trains, he has all of the right tools. That's one person. And I think his left arm is arguably about as good as it gets nationwide at his weight. The second person is David Igyan, the Armenian dude. He doesn't speak English. He won nationals this year. That dude is also on that same trajectory, and they're both young. So they're insanely good at a young age. Those dudes worry me. Mika is a friend of mine. He's solid. He's also on an upward trajectory, but I'm not as worried about him because in my head, at least, I go, well, he's older than me and he doesn't work out as much as me. So good luck catching me is kind of my theory on him. But these 2 younger dudes, they're going to be hard to beat.
Wow, that's really great because I think those were Alan's sentiments when we were just chatting. Is there anything you wanted to add to this, Alan? Because I feel like I'm in the presence of greatness. You know, my husband and you, Dallas. I mean, you know, this is really special. Is there anything else you wanted to share?
I think we're really going to find out this Saturday at the Arizona States what level you're on. I already know you're on a high level, but when you talk about European arm wrestlers and some of the best there in Latvia and others, have your hands full. It's not just going to be one match.
Right.
Like I tell people, it's like they say, are you going to win? When they ask me if I'm going to win, I say, I don't know. I got a lot of guys to go through.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do my best. Right.
Right.
That's what
I love tournaments. Tournament style plays into my strategy more than doing a super match. I'm not a huge fan of super matches. I somehow get baited into them often. But tournaments, if you can just win your first 4, you coast. You have less matches than everyone else. You have time to recover. Usually people have a hard time beating me. That first match, I usually win. Every super match I've ever done, I think I've won the first match. So in a tournament, I usually beat that dude, and then they've got to beat me twice at the end if they make their way up through the B side. So that's where I typically thrive, is in a tournament setting, which is unfortunate because the top of the top right now in arm wrestling, in my opinion, is East West, and it's a super match. And I don't particularly like super matches, but that's where it's going. So I got to figure that out.
Yeah.
Where do you plan on competing at the World Series of Arm Wrestling?
I have no idea. Actually, no. I didn't even do it last year. And I think the reason I didn't do it last year, the timing just didn't work out for whatever reason. I had just pulled the compound tournament and then it was like a month later. I didn't know it was going to be big, and I didn't know what it was going to turn into. And so this year I'm for sure doing it. And I think the qualifier in Riverside is the end of August.
Yep.
Great. It'll be you and Oleg.
Yeah, and he's, like I said, he's the one. Every time I've beaten him, I've never lost to him. every time I've beaten him, I thought he's that much closer.
Oh.
And the last time I pulled him left-handed, I thought that's probably the last time I'll beat him left-handed, unfortunately. But I keep, you know, figuring out another little way to keep going. But we'll see. He's the one.
We've got a big shout out to Greg Sharp, who's doing all of the, you know,
Yeah.
series of arm wrestling. And you guys are champions in your heart, and you're great mentors, and you have a good approach to everything that you learn at every tournament. If there was a brand new arm wrestler, I always speak, I feel like the Lorax, I speak for the trees, but if there was a brand new arm wrestler coming in to arm wrestle and he's all excited, what would be one small thing you'd tell him, either philosophically or mind or body, whatever you want to, what would be the one thing to a new arm wrestler?
The one thing that I would say, this goes true for every area of life that I have found, is consistency. I'll tell you like a quick thing. So I used to be a drug addict and alcoholic, and fought with drug addiction for years and years, went through jail, prison, rehab, all that. When I got into like Alcoholics Anonymous or AA or any of those things, the people that had long-term sobriety kept going every single week. And after years and years and years, you look around the room, you saw the same people, the same core group of 5 dudes or 5 women, that those were the successful ones. And it's because they kept doing the same stuff over and over. I find it in business. I started a solar company 9 years ago. There was 1 million people that got into solar when I got into it. They were probably smarter than me or better at business than me, but I've somehow managed to probably do a little bit better at business than them just through consistency. Arm wrestling is the same. I started going to Derek Smith's practice out in San Bernardino when I first got into it, and the same dudes would come here and there. I came religiously every week, and then I started training in the gym every single day. And you start to stack up little victories that are compounding over time. So yeah, just like Kobe Bryant talks about this type of stuff. If he trains longer than everyone else, the first little bit, you're not going to see that much of a gap. But in 10 years, the gap is enormous. So it's consistency.
I agree with that.
That's
Very
good
good.
words. Thank you, Dallas
Yeah.
Langston, champion, king of champions. That's what I'm going to
Thank you.
call you.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you for your story at the end there. That's really special.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Talking to you and finding out how you do this tournament. All the best to you.
Cool. Appreciate it.
Thanks for being on the show, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.